you're going to leave it run for the entire duration that we're in a space. So that way, if you hit record by the time you think you saw something, it's already gone. So again, just remember, don't film people's cars.
Okay.
People get really funny about that. So welcome to a parking lot. Congratulations, you made it. Did she show you where the volume was at?
Up on the top.
Okay, got it. This place used to be something relevant to the history of Charleston, which is exactly why we're here. Other ghost stores.
4.5.
There we go. Perfect. Now that's your new baseline. Don't give me anything below that. So I'll be writing that one down in just a minute. Look at the other side that she just got. That's awesome. I love it. By the way, this is where I start withholding information, especially for the communication devices. I will not be giving you questions here, like what color was George Washington's white horse, like what we did with the big red one. Okay. Now, this place used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. So their mansion actually sat in the front of the space, facing East Main Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with 5 Drift Restaurant, came all the way across, and then the servant and slave quarters were in the back of the area. Now, who the heck were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues. I need to know which Charles is coming through so I know how to address them. It's 3 different gentlemen. Now, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than all of you combined. We're going to move on. If I don't give the gentleman that recognition, they will do it for me in a very nasty manner on a square box with their own voice. So I try not to make them angry. I just give them the recognition. We move on. We're going to discuss Eliza instead. She has a much better story in my eyes. So
17.2.
There we go.
Was she blind?
No.
Did they die by a vase?
No. 17.2.
Yeah,
That's
what
your
is-
new face.
That's your new. What is that?
Somebody came by to say hello. It probably went immediately down to less than 1, I'm guessing.
No.
Yeah. If it was coming from a man-made object, like a telephone pole or something like that, it would fluctuate around that 17, 15, 19, 21, 17. It would fluctuate. You didn't have that fluctuation. It went from 17 down to pretty much nothing.
So, Catherine, did you pick up any? No. Okay, there's good.
Now, let's turn our sensitivity over here. Let's talk about Eliza. She marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. Say it slowly, because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, do not expect numbers from the colonial days that she came from when girls got married at ages of 12 or 14. Think of today's standards. The reason why the husband was over double her age when they married. It was creepy then, it's creepy now. So I just like to point that out. Sometimes I gotta put my foot in my mouth, but you get the point. But anyway, she married him because her father was over in England. He thought he was dying. He was trying to bring all of his children home one last time so he could see her. Eliza didn't believe he was dying here, so she stayed put, got married. In 1744, you don't get married in that year to earn a green card. We're not a country yet. So, again, you get the point. But she was correct. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to where you're standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. That's a plant that makes blue dye, makes your blue jeans blue. That's what we use it for now. Now, when Eliza got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always from here. And she learned how to make the dye. You got all kinds of things going on now. I can see her eyes like going back and forth. So when she learned how to make the dye, she moved it to a cash crop plantation down by the Stone River, got a hold of her father and told him that the rice plantations were going downhill, and they were actually going to
Ward.
export. Was it D? Oh, okay. So there's still a lot of W. The D was already pre-existing. So we'll talk about get the what, oftentimes we will get 2 or 3 numbers from the actual date of when that tragedy occurred. It's a very specific date. Keep in mind that if you're focused on questions, and again, I'm here every day, it's not like Eliza doesn't know what we're asking. The answers might actually go over to Greg.
Okay.
So we never know what the answer is going to go. Or it goes to this person over here. So, oh yeah, we're just going to kind of meander. I'll kind of do a couple of round robins with everybody, so everybody kind of will be up to
Okay. Are you seeing anything? Big drops?
Eliza, where are you, Eliza? Come on, Eliza, tell us. Can you show yourself? Oh, we'd love to hear your story. How did you die? Show yourself? Come up to me, you want to talk to? Your mother? No. Just water puddles. You seeing anything? No. Got up. Switch back.
You want to switch back?
Yeah, my arm's getting tired.
Yeah, it's going to hit.
You went back to the camera?
Actually the other way around.
Oh.
She went back to the headphones.
Gotcha.
She said the camera was getting heavy.
Oh, yeah. It's got some weight to it.
Yeah, it's a backup battery.
Yeah, just to keep the FLIR running.
Yeah.
The FLIR will only run for an hour. So
Okay.
with me being out here for 2 to 3 hours every night,
Mm-hmm.
gotta make sure it's covered.
Yeah, and I didn't hear anything.
Okay. No.
Other than radio stations.
And that's what I wanted you to hear. So if you get it back, the whole point is to take that radio DJ, if he told you to listen to 105.5.
Uh-huh.
5.5 was the year that Big John's was established, 1955. Kind of see where I'm going with
Okay,
that?
so it's in the radio.
It's in the radio. It's kind of like Bumblebee from Transformers, if
Ah,
you've ever seen that movie.
okay.
I
So
got UK, US. Is that like the United Kingdom?
Wow. It could be.
Okay. I didn't get what I was supposed to be listening for. He explained it to me now.
What are you supposed to be listening for?
They communicate through the radio stations
Yeah.
to you. I didn't know that. I was listening,
Is there anything
thinking a
about
voice
Detroit,
was going to tell me
Chicago?
something. There's a cold spot here.
Cold spot?
Yeah.
Did it drop?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Right there.
How about I walk through it and see if it comes
When you go through it, you block it out.
What?
When you go through it, you block it out. So, move out of the way.
Daisy thinks he found a cold spot.
Well, I did,
You
and
did,
then
and
she
then it
walked
went-
through it and it went away.
I scared it off.
Well, he's recording, so we'll be able to check it out.
Okay.
So it's in the 60s here, but it
So-
was lower than that before.
There's also water on the ground.
Yeah. Well, there's water there.
Yep, so the water's going to be way cooler.
So some boards.
But
take
this
a
was cooler than
long
that.
time, and then the last one went like.
Go ahead and pick up.
Huh.
And that is spelled with a G. G-N-A-T. When I have a name anywhere from these places, I always research it.
Okay.
That's where I learn stuff.
Okay.
Found a cold spot, and it was a beer can.
There you go. Milk cans, water. Always be colder. All right, let's see what Catherine has. What do you got now?
It's cold and black void.
Kind of like what you had going on. It's cold in a black void.
No. NRA was a post-Civil War organization formed by Union soldiers.
I like how she's really diving into it though. Like I was a little worried about her at first. Like she seemed kind of timid about the whole situation.
It's cool how it works. This is great at finding aluminum cans.
Isn't it? It's great for around the house too. So if your dryers, you can't find like where the air's coming out, you just turn it on and take a look around.
How high was the highest number?
18.8.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me further explain the EMF before I give you all of the answers to this location. So Greg, you can hit the stop button.
Okay.
The screen. But every tour that comes here tells the same story. Again, this guy just follows me around. I'm going to give you a few extra details. I'm actually almost excited that Catherine's not listening to me entirely, because that means if she does find something, it's not because it subliminally went into her brain. You guys got the point on that, I hope. Now, here's how the story goes. Again, a few extra details for me versus these other guys, but a doctor moves down here. This is Philadelphia Alley, but it used to be called Dueler's Alley, by the way. So this is where some of the duels used to occur. And I say some of the duels because it was illegal during the 1700s. They had to find hiding spots. This just happened to be one of them. Again, they just, I don't do that. I let the ghost do that for me. But anyway, a doctor moves here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. In the event that Catherine hears the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're down here, it's not coincidence. We get it all the time, but it's part of his name. So he's just using the lyrics to identify himself. But anyway, Dr. Brown, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a lot of money from her dead parents, and she has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after her money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So he comes here to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. He's going to make his own. So the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay here in Charleston. Somebody walking by, seeing what was about to happen, and he kind of gives him a warning. But that guy walking by, his name was Ralph Isaacs. So I stop on his name slowly because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. It's exactly why we have this little Ouija board device, because we were getting RI all the time on a regular spirit box. I wanted this to verify it, and we've gotten it about half a dozen times in the past year.
Okay, I'm looking for RI.
RI, in that order.
I got Alfred Beasley.
Got nothing. I'll write it down. No, Alfred's a weird name.
Randy.
That's could be kind of relevant to our next location. We'll see what else pops up. Again, don't think of it as a name. Think of it as she's a little Randy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the point. Back to Ralph. He tells Dr. Ladd, I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. So come with me to 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from these friends of mine, and you'll be safe. Doc took him up on the offer, and they became friends. Now, the longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's cash. He's making his own. Amanda gets wind of this, and she's moving down, so they can be married. Dr. Ladd then became known as the Whistling Doctor. Now, I hate this story because it's a giant cliche. The reason why, every haunted city you will ever visit has a whistling ghost of some sort. Yeah. We all have one. Ours just happens to be a doctor. There is legitimate proof of this, but we're going to get to that. Back to Dr. Ladd and Ralph's duel and why we're in Dueler's Alley. Okay. They go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. Okay. He gets better seats. Now, on the way home from seeing Richard III one night, they were arguing over the new actress that they just saw. Neither one of them had ever seen her before, but Dr. Ladd thought she was fantastic. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda. Back home in Rhode Island, it got really ugly. They went their separate ways. Now, Ralph has friends around town, as I'm sure you've guessed. He goes to his friends at the newspaper and places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Doc saw the ad but rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. Somebody's going to die. Keep in mind, this argument started over an actress. Yeah. Now, the two gentlemen came down, back to back, took their 10 paces away from each other. They turned. Doc points his gun in the air. He shoots his one shot out of his flintlock. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage to show up. But Ralph has his one bullet still, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Doc didn't die either. Ralph just proved his point. He's not willing to forgive. Doc fell to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. November 2nd of 1786. I'm going to point out two things, only because we do have a younger crowd here. 1786, gunshot wounds are a lot different than what we know of them now. Sure. So he's also a doctor. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself, but obviously he failed. Now, every ghost tour is telling their teams to listen for the whistles, because it is always this quiet down here. We have your camera running plus my audio recorder. So if we're going to capture a disembodied whistle, it'll more than likely show up on one of those two devices. However, Catherine's Spirit Box, there are times where we get the whistling part of a song and then the word doctor from a commercial immediately after. So we have doctor, we get it all the time, dozens upon dozens of times. So again, he loves to tell us who he is. The fact that you had the word name on there, or I think somebody had the word name, I was kind of like, okay, we'll probably have his name showing up somewhere.
Okay.
Now, if you're going to try this on your own, and you're going to walk through this alley and turn on your voice recorders from your phones and listen to the whistles later, just remember every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen, we all throw a whistle down the alley, me included, especially since I've been thrown out of here. Let's talk about that, because that's the fun part of the story. Now, this is where things get interesting, because I'm going to be teaching you things other than what you heard about from your alleyway tour. Now, the alley didn't go all the way through the way we came in. Did they tell you that? There was a wall up there, halfway between us and the street. So the reason why is because this was called Cow Alley before it was Dueler's Alley. Cow Alley was because this is where they kept all the livestock for the city of Charleston. Cows, chickens, and goats. So nicknames in the alleyway. Now, what does that mean for you guys? That means that the bricks, probably where you guys came in on the other side, are older than the ones we're standing on. Did they tell you what those bricks are?
The ones with the little hands.
Right. So those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint down there that they probably showed you. And I used to take my groups down there this time of night for a history lesson, because there's nothing paranormal about that handprint in the brick. That kid's not there. So November 26th of 2020, I took my entire group down there. I was waiting for the sneeze. I took them down there for their history lesson, and they're all huddled around that brick, waiting for something to happen with the gear that I handed them. And I'm just trying to be respectful by shooing them along, because we're also outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I was trying to be respectful because it's a home, not realizing I was out of bounds. I was still new at this. So the new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter, who was about 13 and on the tour that night, thought it was hysterical because her father's getting yelled at, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving simply because I used to work in upper management for Walmart for over 10 years, and you guys fight over towels on Thanksgiving, and you starved me for life for Thanksgiving. So the next day was the 28th. The dates are relevant, I promise you. But I got a hold of my partner that brought me into tourism, and I told him what happened, trying to figure out what to do next, and he laughed at me just like my daughter did. He said, dude, you're not allowed to go down that far. You're only allowed to go down halfway, which is about where they are now. So he said, otherwise it's considered residential. Reroute your group. So I told my group that night, I don't believe in the next story because I've never had anything happen over there with my gear, and I'm into vampires, not pirates. Obviously, we're discussing pirates next. Before we left, somebody with a spirit box heard the name Anne, and I did not tell them which pirate we are going to be investigating. The female pirate, Anne Bonny. So it's kind of like, hot damn, maybe we're going to get something. I took them around the corner, told them the little bit I did know about pirates at the time. Not much. I only had a few hours to do a quick, research. And somebody else heard the number 300 on a different spirit box. I don't know what it means. I wrote it down. I do their research. Turns out we were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. The exact 300th year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I was actually kind of ticked off. The reason why is I actually have a master's degree in creative writing and 2 other degrees in bachelor degrees that are also in writing. Anytime I research anything, I need facts and data. Pirate stories come from pirate lore. That was written 100 years after the golden age of piracy. That's a problem because that means I have to read more books whenever you guys discover something. So by this time, I've read a lot of books on pirates, I've watched a lot of documentaries, and of course, played enough video games about different versions of pirate stories. Okay? I don't know what it means, but I'm going to write it down because it spells it out for us. So at this point, it's just interesting you're getting so many words. How are our words coming along for you?
I've been on Medium for
a good minute.
Oh, finally it just changed. What is that?
Indicator. I can't read her text, but I can read that large screen. We're going to be exiting the same way that we came in. Oh, the gate behind me. You guys will find this interesting. Only because you know that there is a cemetery on the other side of this wall. Now, keep in mind, during the dueling times, that the wall was up there, right? So they can't go up that way to get over to the cemetery.
Cows and livestock. How are they dueling without...
It was in Cow Alley at that point. So they moved on to just an open courtyard. But again, if there's a loser to the duel, they can't go out this way. They have to go all the way down to Queen Street and then double back. So they put this gate in here. So if you kind of look at the wall above it, that's part of the original work. But the ironwork, this is kind of the shortcut to get to the cemetery. So there's a courtyard across the street here, obviously, across this gate, but the cemetery is just off here to the left. So I call this the Death Gate. Now the gate itself was probably put here in the early 1900s, but again, the archway is definitely part of the original wall. I did walk through here. I had to walk somebody back to their Airbnb a few weeks ago, and I was like, let me walk through here and see if I can see if any of the extra bullet holes in the walls. I did find a few.
Okay.
So if you look close, there are still a few bullet holes in these bricks.
Okay.
From like a shot off to the side kind of mentality.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting piece because even there was a rumor that Andrew Jackson even had a duel down here.
Wow.
But because he was a president, they kind of hide that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you can't find any proof of it. And I even got a hold of the dueling expert here in town, and he's like, yeah, I've never found any proof of that.
Okay.
Just very interesting pieces when you really start digging around and looking for things. So we are going to go up and around the corner. I got to write down the word toy. We'll see what Catherine has. So let's kind of wave her over and see if she has. I'm sure she's been typing things up. Come on over. I need to know what you
I need you to report in.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So
this section is new.
newer.
Today.
Oh, new freezer.
Today.
Yeah.
Because we went back that way.
Back that way.
Bring 'em off. What do you got?
Engineer,
Okay.
acoustic concert, Love the Lord, Alfred Beasley, Dust, What Comes Next. Is They Have Traditional, We Spent, Shopping, 1,000 Miles, You Already Know Me, Song, Keep On, Please, How Eternal, Watch the Goddess, NBA, Drinking, Smoking, Her, Just to See, Washington, 20, Fire, Holding On, Back at It, Find Myself Flowers, Serving Up Inside, Have to Get Right Out, Comfortable, Gifts, Baby, I Don't Need, Of Sanctification, How Even Back Then, Assemble the Spirits, Remember, Working, Locally, First For, A Thing, and 96.
So you had this 1922 earlier. The doctor's story that I just told them was actually when he was 22 years old, so he did die. And his birthday was July 7th. So you have the 7th on there. We would normally hear double 7s. So because it's 7/7 or July 7th.
It's got dark.
I'm gonna write down 22. Interesting. Love it. We've actually had like RX show up here.
Like prescription.
Right.
Oh.
Not that I know that would have been a
Because
thing.
the whole story was the doctor who
Right.
did the. Wow.
So you can see with me, like, basically no such thing as coincidence. So there's no reason why you would have the word dog being spelled out. Again, the word baby stuck out to me, but I need more before I even tell that story. It's something that it's one of those off the beaten path kind of things, and we are nearby that story. We're still going to be nearby that story, but I want to see if anything else is going to pop up between the other devices. You didn't repeat anything else that would have made sense to that.
I just got green.
You did hear 1,000, so I know that all of those numbers.
So the doctor died before he could ever be married.
Correct. And we don't know Amanda's last name. I dug for that too, and I don't know the name of the actress that they were arguing over either. Because I've dug for that, didn't even look for the old playbills and trying to find out like who was here, who would they be arguing over, because maybe that would have been a thing. But again, I wanted extra information that all these other tours don't talk about. You know what I mean? So that's why I like all those extra details. All right, ready to learn about Rated R Pirates? Here's a little Randy.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Catherine's almost too good at that. Like we might need to speed her up so she's not hearing as much.
Keep this on or turn it off?
Completely up to you. We're going to go up and around the corner, so you can turn it off and give your hands a break for a few minutes.
You've been recording for
Power magazine. Did you notice the crosses on the side of the building? The little tiny building up front with the big crosses on it?
Yeah.
Those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. Did they tell you what those were yet?
No.
Okay, earthquake bolts are basically terminal bolts. So if we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886 that I told you about earlier, you can tighten them, and it's supposed to tighten the building so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea. It just doesn't work. All it does is squeeze the building. You guys got the point on that. But that's part of the reason why we're here is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in.
family.
You guys have seen them all over town in the shape of lion heads and pineapples and things. It's just Charleston charm. But the reason why that's the first set is it's the oldest government building in South Carolina. That's part of the reason why we're here.
Ooh, I got rain.
That building was finished in 1713. I'm sorry, I had something there. So, we're here because that building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming here to start her new life.
Yeah,
That's little bingo.
Yeah.
So, with that said, this is what I call a familiar. On the newer TV shows, they're using a new device, and it's basically a teddy bear with that little blinky-like device in the middle of it. So if a child comes near it, the thing goes off.
Okay.
And they use it on purpose.
5969.
59 is actually the address from Dr. Ladd's house at 59 Church Street. So, back to the little boo buddy guy. Think of that concept, because the child would recognize the teddy bear as a toy.
Yeah.
So same thing with this building. We're only here because this building was from Anne's era, and hopefully she recognizes it and is here at the exact same time that we are. Now, here's how the story goes. The story took place right in the middle of the building's construction, which the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. But anyway, 1708. A couple of twists in here. I'll slow down on the twist, but I'm going to speed through the rest because there's a lot here, and they're obviously very occupied with what's going on with the devices, so we all want to get back to work. 1708, a young lady comes here by the name of Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you with me so far?
Okay, say that again.
Anne comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother.
Anne's mother.
Now the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife.
Okay.
How mad was the wife that she kicked them out of the damn country when there's no airplane jet? It's 1708. They landed here by boat, but it was in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach, about 90 minutes north. Now, Dad bought a plantation up in Georgetown, but Mom died pretty quickly. That means Dad is now sending young Anne down here. We don't really look for that kind of answer, but it is simply bad luck. Just like to make sure everybody's paying attention.
Okay.
Now, it's bad luck, so he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like my crew, you can be part of the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. Now, she is a female in Jack's quarters. Let's put two and two together, everybody. She's eventually going to get pregnant.
Yeah.
You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out she's a girl. Before she starts the show, he drops her off in Cuba. Have the baby here with these friends of mine, come back later. We'll figure it out then. She goes
that works out.
Yeah, she went and had that baby, returned without a baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. None of my research ever discovered it. However, she also comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. Now he's going to know he let a girl on the ship. To make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew he just captured. They are down below deck. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females, dressed like guys, trying to be pirates on the same ship. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Now, Anne and Mary...
It's got ocean.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Anne and Mary became friends, maybe lovers, we're not really sure because of the time frame, but the British find out where they are. They send a whole fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. Rumor is Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up with their 1-bullet flintlocks to come fight back against the ship cannons. Obviously that's not going to work out too well, and they get arrested. As they're being handcuffed and arrested, Anne looks at her captain in bow, Jack, and she says, "I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up all the time in communication, you get the point.
Yeah.
Now, the judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front, reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. Judge doesn't care that they're female. They're still pirates. He's going to hang them anyway. "We plead our bellies." It was the last thing they shouted at him because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging, but Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails on Anne and brings her home. He remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary because we don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84.
Wow.
Very abrupt ending because we don't know anything about her truthful after her pirate career. Too much speculation for me to try to figure all that out. Mary Reed died 5 months later from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. I say let's just call it scurvy instead of fever like most of the history books. Now, I'm not going to control this environment like what I did at the Pinckney Mansion. We're not dealing with that prominent tiptoe on, around the English lady. I did leave a few things out, however. So on Catherine's end, even the communication devices, I didn't tell you the names of the Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and the mistress. So you don't know what those names are. You can ask about those. The name of the ship that she joined with Calico Jack. The city she grew up in Ireland. and the color of Anne Bonny's hair. Those are some of the common things that we'll get here, but if you ask anything else, again, you can ask whatever you want to. The drinking and smoking thing that was heard earlier, that's kind of funny because I normally joke around, like if you brought a bottle of rum and smoked tobacco, have at it because you'll probably attract her closer to us.
Yeah.
So again, I usually just make that as kind of a joke, and the fact that she heard drinking and smoking, I was kind of like, oh, actually maybe somebody's trying to tell my joke tonight. But again, we'll spread around here just like we did at the Pinckney Mansion, kind of see what's going on, and we're going to see, like Catherine's got another short list going, so what do you got going on with your list right there?
I got DAM, D-A-M. Are you recording, Greg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Got after me.
Catherine, what do you have going on your list?
Catherine, what's your list?
3939, Pastor Paul, fiance car crash, I love the music, tomorrow, diabetes, blood pressure, convince us, 95.9, whiskey.
Switch, Greg?
Hmm.
You want to switch?
No. Let me go with this.
Like you want to switch and go. I'm good with this.
It's good at flying metal. No. I found metal. It's really good at finding aluminum cans. There's a piece of metal in the parking lot over there
you
too.
You hear what I've been listening to?
Well, I did this.
I know, but it's sped up now.
Like
get a 7 again, I'm gonna go buy 11.
I sped that spirit box up, Greg, on her so she doesn't hear as much. I think she's giving me too much.
Yeah, found the gum wrapper too.
You're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
You almost need a metal detector too. See what's underneath it. Anything else on there that you've noticed that was weird? Besides the aluminum can and the cold spot?
No.
Only when it's bleeding that matters, right? Because a lot of people said one with you. Texas 2030. Jen. Now I'm broken. Consultation all night. Had enough. List of I shouldn't be. The N word. But the sense.
Okay.
So,
She belongs to the church. Apparently Jackie gets around. Jackie got pregnant.
but she's, like I said, she's pretty well known around here. Like, again, she's obviously very friendly. Let's see. So the next location we're going to is a quick murder mystery.
Catherine, listen.
So one of you, actually, Mary Brennan was a servant for the Cormac family. So if you wanted to guess how Dad met Mom, you'd be correct. So it's another 30-minute scandal. We just don't need to cover it. Let's see. Oh, the city Anne grew up in was Cork, County Cork.
Yeah.
A lot of times if you ask her what city she grew up in, we'll hear the word county, almost like she's correcting you.
Okay.
So we get that all the time. Calico Jack.
276.
This is the guy they based Johnny Depp off of.
Oh, okay.
Now, he's named that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from British captains that he killed. His father was a tailor, so textiles are important to the Rackham family. Calico Jack, in modern English, means fancy jacket. That's where the name came from.
Okay.
The name of his ship that we were all hoping for to hear was called the Kingston. I don't expect the word Kingston to show up on any of the devices we have tonight. The word king would suffice,
Yeah.
especially if it were a direct answer. And so what color is a big red barn mentality? They will use whatever they can grab. So the next location, like I said, is very quick and short, but it is about 2.5 blocks from here.
Okay.
So same rules apply, so no reason. He sends her to autopsy to figure out what happened. Well, the coroner basically found a mark underneath her arm, right here, like a scrape, and then a bullet hole inside of her rib cage. Why they didn't find the blood that would have poured out of that, I
Yeah.
don't know. But anyway, she was shot by a .38, and it went